What if you could cut your finance team's manual workload while making fewer mistakes and closing your books 3 days faster? That's exactly what tech giants like eBay and Zendesk have achieved through finance automation. Here's the sobering reality: 70% of digital transformations fail. Yet, the ones that succeed are completely changing how financial departments operate. The difference between success and failure isn't the size of your budget or the sophistication of your technology, it's your approach. Just a few years ago, finance teams at major companies spent days hunting through paper trails, making endless copies, and manually reconciling thousands of transactions each month. eBay alone had to process more than 10,000 account reconciliations monthly, with accountants literally running to off-site storage centers to retrieve documents from years past. But what exactly did these tech CFOs automate first? And how did they convince their teams to change decades-old processes? Most importantly, how can you replicate their success without a tech giant's resources? Over the next 20 minutes, you'll discover the proven blueprint that transformed finance operations at companies like eBay, Zendesk, and T-Mobile, and how you can apply those same principles to your organization, regardless of size. Before you can successfully automate your finance department, you need to understand and avoid the 3 deadly misconceptions that derail most transformation projects. Misconception number 1: automation is a one-time project. Most CFOs approach transformation as a one-and-done implementation. They believe they can simply install new software, make the change once, and never worry about it again. eBay understood this from the start. They began by automating journal entries and account reconciliations, but they didn't stop there. They continued expanding their automation focus, consistently looking for new processes to optimize. This continuous improvement mindset is what separated their successful transformation from the 70% that fail. Misconception number 2: it's just about implementing new technology. The second fatal mistake is believing that simply adding new technology to existing processes will drive transformation. In reality, it's not just about technology. It's about rethinking outdated processes, upgrading them to best-in-class standards, and then using technology to bring those improvements to life. This is where many transformation efforts go wrong. They attempt to digitize broken processes instead of fundamentally rethinking them. When T-Mobile undertook their finance transformation, they first mapped their entire close process, identified inefficiencies, and standardized procedures before implementing any new technology. Misconception number 3: automation replaces employees. Perhaps the most damaging misconception is that automation aims to replace financial professionals. This belief creates immediate resistance from the very people whose corporation you need for success. The reality is quite different. Finance and accounting professionals are among the most talented and qualified employees in an organization. The more the CFO can take menial work off that employee's plate, the more they can allocate their capacity to more strategic and effective work. At Zendesk, automation freed their accountants from tedious transaction matching and reconciliation work. Instead of spending hours manually comparing data sources, these professionals now focus on analyzing the exceptions, identifying trends, and providing strategic insights that drive business decisions. Now that you understand what automation isn't, let's examine how tech CFOs actually justified their investments to secure the necessary funding and support. There's a specific formula tech CFOs use to get their automation projects funded, and it has nothing to do with fancy technology. It's about building a compelling business case that speaks to both quantitative and qualitative benefits. The quantitative argument: the most convincing justification comes from hard numbers. Tech CFOs evaluate automation investments against the needs of the organization and the expected return of the optimization. Direct cost savings represent the most visible benefit. Our finance executive shared a striking example. I was talking to a customer who saw their audit fees increase because they weren't properly documenting things and didn't have good processes or standardization. If you're spending $1 million on audit fees and your processes aren't working well, or there are things making the audit harder, those fees jump from $1 million to $1.5 million. That's real dollars going out the door. Other quantifiable benefits include reduction in overtime costs during month-end close, decreased error rates and associated correction costs, lower compliance risks, and potential penalties. Efficiency improvements also translate directly to the bottom line. eBay reduced their financial close cycle from 10 days to just 3 days through automation. This acceleration didn't just save time, it allowed auditors and tax preparers to begin and complete their tasks more quickly, creating a cascade of efficiency throughout the financial ecosystem. The qualitative benefits. While numbers speak loudly, successful CFOs also emphasize the less tangible but equally important qualitative benefits. Better decision-making through faster insights tops this list. When financial data is processed, reconciled, and reported quickly, leadership gains a significant competitive advantage. From an efficiency standpoint, receiving information quicker and making more informed decisions quicker is what they care about. Employee satisfaction represents another crucial benefit. Finance professionals didn't choose their careers to spend nights manually matching transactions or hunting through storage for documentation. Automation eliminates these tedious tasks, leading to emotional benefits like less frustration doing grunt work, fewer hours, fewer late nights at the office. The strategic alignment. Zendesk's rapid growth meant their accounting workload doubled. But through strategic automation, they continued to cut time and effort from financial processes rather than simply adding headcount. This alignment with their growth strategy made the investment case compelling. Now that you know how to get your project approved, what should you automate first? There's a specific sequence the most successful finance transformations follow, and it's probably not what you'd expect. Let's walk through the critical phases that companies like eBay, Zendesk, and T-Mobile use to structure their transformation journeys. Phase 1. Strategy and assessment. If you want world-class results, you must start with intense evaluation and understanding of the strategy. This critical first phase should represent about half of your effort as an organization. Before selecting any technology, you need to thoroughly understand your current processes. T-Mobile mapped their entire financial close process, identifying specific pain points, redundancies, and manual bottlenecks. This detailed assessment revealed that after their merger with Sprint, they were dealing with disparate systems and non-standardized processes that significantly extended their close timeline. A thorough assessment includes mapping existing processes in detail, evaluating current technologies, analyzing team skills and capabilities, identifying specific pain points. A strong internal audit team can typically help with that, or hiring a third party to come in and assess your processes and identify the areas that need the most improvement. Phase 2. Planning and roadmap. With a clear understanding of your current state, the next step is developing a strategic roadmap. The best finance transformations happen with a constant focus on low-hanging fruit, making it achievable, phasing it out in terms of how they'll actually transform and expand over time. eBay didn't try to transform everything at once. They prioritized journal entries and account reconciliations, areas with high manual effort and clear standardization potential. Their phased approach allowed them to demonstrate value quickly, building momentum and support for broader transformation. An effective roadmap includes clear prioritization based on impact versus effort, consideration of interdependencies between processes, alignment with budget cycles and available resources, define checkpoints to assess progress. Phase 3. Selecting the right technology. Only after completing the first 2 phases should you evaluate specific technology solutions. This approach ensures you're selecting tools that address your actual needs, rather than being swayed by impressive but potentially irrelevant features. When evaluating technology options, consider specific functional requirements for each process, integration capabilities with existing systems, security and compliance considerations, scalability to support future growth. They needed a solution that could process increasing transaction volumes while integrating seamlessly with their NetSuite ERP system. This focused evaluation ensured they selected technology that solved their actual problems, rather than creating new ones. But knowing where to start isn't enough. You need to know exactly which processes to automate first. There's a simple 3-part test tech CFOs use to identify processes with the biggest ROI potential. The ideal automation candidates are processes that are 1. Consistent and recurring, 2. Manual and time-consuming, 3. capable of being standardized. Using these criteria, here are the 3 high-impact processes that tech giants tackled first. Process number 1, record to report. The record to report process stands out as one of the largest defined processes in an organization, with the goal of producing financial outputs for stakeholders to review and make decisions on the organization. We made a special video on R2R if you want to know everything about it. Financial close automation represents a primary focus area. This process is very time-consuming, but many of these processes are very manual, and they're happening every month, right? So it's a perfect opportunity to look for transformation or optimization. Account reconciliation automation delivered particularly dramatic results for eBay. With over 10,000 accounts to reconcile monthly, their manual process was unsustainable. Employees repeatedly tracked down supporting documents in 3-ring binders, made copies, and then refiled them, often traveling to off-site storage centers to hunt down historical documentation. After implementing BlackLine's account reconciliations module, eBay eliminated these manual processes. The cloud-based system provided global visibility into reconciliation status, allowing controllers across different regions to access the information they needed, without endless phone calls and emails trying to track down documentation. The direct result is a streamlined reconciliation process that contributed significantly to reducing their close cycle from 10 days to just 3. Process number 2. Transaction matching. Transaction matching automates the tedious process of comparing transactions between different systems, like bank statements and general ledger entries. Zendesk leveraged BlackLine's transaction matching product to automatically link matched transactions to their account reconciliation process. As Patrick Loughnane, Senior Financial Systems Analyst at Zendesk, explained, "We use transaction matching for a number of applications now, and we're adding more every day." Their typical use case involved comparing bank accounts with their NetSuite general ledger, a process that previously required accountants to manually check each transaction. With automation, the system could process millions of transactions in minutes, identifying exceptions that required human attention while automatically matching the rest. The system's sophisticated rules could analyze multiple invoices to one payment, account for variances due to bank fees or foreign exchange impact, and anticipate independent payee assignments. This automation allowed Zendesk to achieve an 80% automation rate for high-volume account reconciliations, while reducing reconciliation time by 65%. Process number 3. Journal entries. Journal entry automation dramatically reduced manual effort at eBay, where they processed approximately 17,000 journal entries monthly. By standardizing templates for recurring transactions and establishing automated workflows for approval, eBay achieved a 70% reduction in time spent on manual journal entries. Their implementation also created a complete audit trail, significantly improving compliance and reducing risk. The automation extended beyond simple creation and posting. By integrating with source systems, eBay enabled automatic data population, eliminating error-prone manual data entry and ensuring consistency across their financial ecosystem. But even with the perfect plan, targeting the right processes, you'll face significant obstacles. Every successful finance transformation had to overcome these deadly obstacles. Here's exactly how tech giants navigated these challenges. Obstacle number 1, cultural resistance. Perhaps the most pervasive challenge is cultural resistance to change. Cultural barriers are a big obstacle in an organization. CFOs know very well that their teams may be highly skilled, but if they're not accustomed to change, if they're unwilling to change, that would be kind of the nail in the coffin for a potential transformation failure. This resistance often manifests as skepticism toward new systems. Finance professionals are naturally detail-oriented and risk-averse. One BlackLine executive shared, "Some accountants get this new technology implemented and start using it but don't trust it. So they end up doing things the old way while also using the new technology." Interestingly, this parallel verification often strengthens confidence in the new system. When they double-check everything, the technology is always right. It's the old way that trips them up. To overcome this obstacle, demonstrate the system's capabilities using real company data. Allow parallel verification during the initial period. Provide comprehensive training and accessible documentation. Offer responsive technical support to quickly resolve issues. Share success stories from other users. Obstacle number 2, lack of executive sponsorship. Transformation requires sustained leadership commitment. Low aspirations are a big reason for failure. You hear this discussion all the time in finance, of tone at the top. If there are low aspirations from executive management, then they're almost dooming their organization to failure from the onset. eBay secured ongoing leadership commitment by demonstrating progressive wins and maintaining visibility into the transformation process. Their approach included regular updates on key metrics, such as reduced close times and improved audit readiness. Obstacle number 3, missing the why. Without a compelling reason for change, team members will resist disrupting established routines. Successful transformations ensure leadership and everybody in the organization are aligned to a common goal in terms of why the organization is heading in that direction. Zendesk created a compelling vision focused on growth enablement. They made it clear that automation wasn't about cost cutting, but about enabling the company to scale without proportionally increasing headcount. This positive framing helped secure buy-in across the organization. Obstacle number 4, lack of incentives. The fourth major obstacle involves insufficient motivation for teams to embrace change. Without proper incentives, transformation efforts lose momentum. Some companies incorporate transformation objectives into performance evaluations, creating formal accountability for supporting change initiatives. Others focus on non-monetary recognition, celebrating and communicating successes to build momentum. Now, let's see what happens when you successfully navigate these challenges. As we started to say, eBay reduced their financial close cycle from 10 days to just 3 days. That created cascading benefits throughout their financial processes. This acceleration allowed auditors and tax preparers to begin and complete their tasks in a shorter window because incomplete reconciliations became non-existent. Zendesk achieved a 2/3 reduction in time spent on manual reconciliations. Despite their accounting workload doubling due to growth, they continued to cut time and effort from financial processes rather than simply adding headcount. T-Mobile reduced their close cycle by 40%, while cutting manual tasks and finance processes by 60%. This efficiency gain translated directly to improved operational agility and cost savings, accuracy and compliance improvements. The automated processes dramatically reduced errors while strengthening compliance. eBay streamlined their auditing processes with self-service capabilities, allowing auditors to access reconciliation data directly. With up to 40 active audit accounts in their BlackLine system, auditors could find what they needed without relying on eBay's resources. This improvement extended to Sarbanes-Oxley compliance as well. Previously, eBay had to dedicate significant resources to work with SOX compliance teams. After automation, the system proactively sent reconciled accounts directly to SOX teams based on predefined rules and alerts. Strategic value increase. Perhaps most importantly, automation transformed finance from a back-office function to a strategic partner. By eliminating time-consuming manual processes, finance professionals could focus on analyzing exceptions, identifying trends, and providing insights that drive business decisions. At T-Mobile, automation created clarity and control over their financial processes. The comprehensive overview of accounts for reconciliation through BlackLine gave them visibility they never had before. As Thomas Kick, an accounting specialist, noted, "My biggest struggle was that we didn't have a complete overview of how many accounts we needed to reconcile, and BlackLine gave us that complete picture." Employee experience transformation. The human impact of automation proved equally significant. Finance professionals experienced less frustration doing grunt work, fewer hours, fewer late nights at the office. Instead of tedious manual matching and reconciliation, team members developed new skills in data analysis and business partnering. This evolution created more rewarding career paths while improving work-life balance, a win-win for employees and the organization. The journeys of these tech giants reveal a clear blueprint that any organization can follow, regardless of size or industry. The good news is that you don't need a tech giant's budget to start this journey. Begin by mapping your most manual processes. Focus on continuous improvement rather than a one-time project. And remember that the goal is to elevate your team, not replace them. Start with the processes that meet the 3-part test: consistent, manual, and standardizable. For most organizations, account reconciliation, transaction matching, and journal entries represent the highest impact areas to begin your transformation. Anticipate and plan for the inevitable obstacles. Build a compelling case that includes both quantitative and qualitative benefits. Ensure executive sponsorship and create a clear why that resonates with your team. And don't forget to establish incentives that recognize and reward contributions to the transformation effort. The future of finance isn't just automated, it's strategic. By freeing your team from manual tasks, you're positioning them to drive business growth through data-driven insights. In a world where business moves faster every day, this transformation isn't optional. It's essential. The question isn't whether your finance department will transform, but whether you'll lead the change or be forced to follow. The blueprint is clear. The technology is accessible. The only remaining variable is your willingness to begin the journey.